So hey guys, Bart to the Future is the 17th episode of Season 11 of The Simpsons. An episode set in the future, dun dun dun. It was directed by Michael McCantel and it was written by Dan Greenery, and it first aired on March the 19th, 2000. The episode follows Bart visiting a casino and getting a glimpse to his future self by the mystic tribal chief. There he sees how he lives as a full-time mooch, and Lisa lives as the first straight female president of the United States. It also has a B-plot too, with Homer trying to find Abraham Lincoln's hidden treasure. The episode supposedly predicts Trump's election in 2016, so it's kind of relevant. So anyway, let's dive into the future and look at the plot of Bart to the Future. The episode begins with the Simpsons family driving to a campground where they are stopped and redirected due to the bugs now being in charge. They've taken the visitor center. Homer drives away and the camp warden dude has his hand eaten by the bugs. I'm not a huge fan of this opener, I won't deny it. It was a little funny, the bugs returning the ring and taking his skin, but it sacrifices the realism for the joke, and I don't know about it overall. I get it, it shifts the story into a gear, but it's iffy. The Simpsons go to Powwow Casino, but Bart is not allowed inside with Homer as he is of course too young. Bart then sneaks off and finds Arthur and Gabbo's truck and throws out Gabbo from his box and gets into the box to be able to sneak in. I like this scene a lot. Bringing back Arthur and Gabbo is really cool, and it makes sense how they'd be in this scene. But man, Gabbo has had some rough days, clearly. Arthur does his show and opens up his Gabbo box and finds Bart. Bart tries to get into the casino, but he is stopped by the casino guards and taken to the tribal chief, the owner of the casino, and he reveals he knows Bart's name. Well, mainly because of the second mortgage taken out, having Bart's name on it, but still. This is our inciting incident, as without the tribal chief we wouldn't have got the visions of Bart's future. Bart gets to see his future through the tribal chief's visions in the fire. We see Bart in the future, he drinks beer, plays guitar badly and lives with Ralph Wiggum. It's clear that Bart is lazy, and even Ralph is getting sick of it. Turns out Bart and Ralph are also in a band together, and they get a call from Nelson telling them that they can perform at his restaurant, the Crab Shack. This is our plot point 1, and it shifts us into the second act. I like Nelson in this role too. It makes sense that he'd be this kind of sleazy looking business owner. Bart comes to Marge and Homer hoping to get a payout from them, but they're tired of bailing him out, so he has to go to Ned Flanders instead. Now, although I like this idea that Bart and Flanders have this kind of relationship, it does seem weird that they need money like this. I mean, Bart is the older brother of the freaking president-elect of the United States, so I'm sure he could muster up a crowd who'd pay him blindly. Anyway, Bart goes to the Crab Shack, and he sucks. Really sucks. And the crowd get angry. Bart and Ralph go home, but find that they have also been evicted. Bart goes to shoot himself with the news and hears about Lisa being inaugurated as the next president. We cut back briefly to the tribal chief and Bart, and then we go right back to the vision. Bart comes to the White House and crashes Lisa's meeting. This is our midpoint or no return point. Bart causes trouble for Lisa, getting Ralph to take Marine 1 to the White House. He throws a frisbee during an important speech. And then finally, when Lisa needed to make an important address to the country to distract them from the tax hike, he embarrasses her, but then he spills the beans about the refund adjustment actually being a tax hike. We get a scene of Moe and Co. switch from loving her to hating her to demonstrate this. And of course, Lisa flips out on Bart, and she even gets the Secret Service in on it. Lisa has another meeting to figure out what to do next, and Bart just can't help it, and he also crashes it again. Kearney offers to take him out, but Lisa instead decides to send Bart to Camp David on a bogus meeting. Bart meets with Krusty and some others, but he can't seem to come up with anything for the bogus coolness report. Then he is visited by Billy Carter's ghost, who tells him that the coolness report is a pile of BS. I hate this reveal for Bart. It should have been him who figured it out, not just a ghost. And I know you can argue that this is actually his subconsciousness talking to him or something, but I still think it's lazy. Bart is upset, and this is our plot point 2, or our low point if you want. But Bart soon brings himself back into action and he returns to the White House. He BS's to the world leaders and tells them that the country will get them their money soon, using his skills of avoiding debt collectors. Now I love this ending. But to make this scene really work, they should have had a scene where Bart avoided debt collectors. Instead of the scene where Bart and Ralph perform at Nelson's Crab Shack, maybe they should have made Nelson a debt collector, who Bart skillfully avoids. I just think this would have made the ending way more cohesive, and also just the ending feel better. This is also our climax scene, and it wraps up the conflict of the story. In the real world, the vision wraps up, Bart leaves and tells Lisa everything about his life, but fails to mention, she's going to be the President of the United States. Overall, the A-plot is... nothing too amazing. It was kind of out there for them to make Lisa the President in the future, as arguably that is like the most elaborate thing she could be, but honestly, I think for the most part, they made it work. Now, like pretty much every depiction of the future, they show some super high-tech stuff that makes this episode feel outdated, but I'm going to be fair and not deduct points for this. Anyway, we also had a... the B-plot. So, the B-plot, Homer vows to find Lincoln's hidden treasure. He destroys part of the White House before he digs up the gardens of the White House to find Lincoln's treasure. And it's a note. The B-plot is so pointless, and I know that they were self-aware and pointed it out, but it doesn't excuse it. I feel like they were desperate for Homer and Marge to do something, and they just picked the first thing they could think of. Anyway, overall, aside from the B-plot, the plot is... it's not terrible. It has a good pace, it has a wacky environment, and it's an okay ending where Bart saves the day. But what about the jokes? Let's explore that. My favourite joke of the episode has gotta be, "Gabbo, you've become a real boy!" Especially considering Arthur has been reduced so low, I feel really bad for him. Gabbo becoming a real boy would have really been a great break for him. Oh well, poor Arthur. Not outing Rod and Todd is a close second though. That joke is pretty good. I know it's only implied they're gay, but honestly it wouldn't surprise me if they made it canon. Hey, maybe that's a good idea for the next future episode. Bill Clinton's porno stash is a decent joke. It's a more adult one. Although I'll be honest, I really expected them to throw more jokes jabbing at presidents. Smell you later replacing goodbye is pretty cringy to me. The whole term smell you later is just super cringe as it is, but replacing goodbye? Get out of here! The casino owner overall is a humorous character. His best joke by far is when Bart says, "How do you know my name?" and he replies, "Your father just took out a second mortgage downstairs. You're listed as collateral." It's a bait and switch joke. They made you think he's all-knowing, then they slap you with the mortgage thing, and then they slap you again to reveal he is really all-knowing. He's actually a really interesting one-episode character. Let's look at him. Yeah, so the casino owner, what's going on with him? I like how he's posed overall, although I'm pretty sure this is the first significant Native American character seen on the show, and you can see if some people would find it a little, iffy. The show was released in the 90s, so it's somewhat excusable, I guess, but having him be a magic casino owner is a little... But I won't lie, I love the character. I kinda wish we got some more of him, to be honest, in the future episodes. Bart is framed in a very different light, mainly due to his character being a future version of himself, for the most of the episode at least. And I think it makes a lot of sense that he would be a lazy mooch hoping to make it big, but at the same time, I really don't want this to be how Bart ends up. I always feel that this scenario is too obvious for Bart too. That being said, I do think he's okay, and he does have a sort of character arc in the end, but it's still such an obvious portrayal of how Bart would be in the future. Lisa is the same, but I'm okay with her. Some may say her being president is a bit over the top or far-fetched, but it makes sense knowing that the 8-year-old girl that we know, I could really believe that she is the type of person to make it as the first straight female president. I haven't got much to say about Homer and Marge, not much is really done with their characterization. We get glimpses of other characters in the future too, but nothing of significance apart from a few jokes here and there. Anyway, I think it's time to sum up the episode and give it a score. Bart to the Future, overall, in my opinion, is kinda bad. I mean, I like stuff in here, don't get me wrong, and I think the plot for the most part is solid in terms of pace, but it's boring. I really find this episode kind of a bore. Nothing in here really excites me, and that seems insane considering Lisa is the president, we're in the future. And I think the biggest reason for why I don't like this episode is Bart. He's just framed in a painfully annoying manner, and the climax scene where he saves the day is a little bit of a letdown. Surely these world leaders will come back when they figure out the checks aren't coming. I wanted to love this episode, but I found it hard. Just writing the script alone for this review was kind of boring. Anyway, I give Bart to the Future a solid 4 out of 10. The reason it's not a free is all on Arthur and Gabbo. Well done, you two. Well done. Now, let's move on to the wheel. So, you guys know the deal? Let's see. So, the next episode I will be reviewing is... Oh, okay. Thanksgiving of Horror. That is kind of relevant, actually. Okay, I like that. It's coming up, at least.